Hello, everyone. How are you? I am giving way to Mother Nature. I was supposed to have come on a little bit earlier tonight, but when Mother Nature speaks and says that we are having a tornado, I listen to Mother Nature. I'm Tawana Carter, career transition coach, and I am going to take a moment. I'm attempting something. This is the first time I've done it. I'm coming live from 4 different platforms. So, for those of you on LinkedIn who see this on LinkedIn, welcome. For those of you who see this on Facebook, to you, welcome as well. For those of you seeing it on YouTube, welcome. And for those of you on Instagram, welcome as well. Now, Instagram is giving me a little message that says they're telling people they're on, but you know what? They'll catch up, right? So I am a career transition coach for high achieving women, and I help women overcome that fear and anxiety that can come with transitioning to a new career path by empowering them to recognize and communicate their unique value, and by instilling a deep sense of belief in their own unique strengths and abilities. So, as I said, I'm coming to you from several platforms. And so, I do want to take a little bit of time and I'll bounce between the different screens to be sure if I have any comments that they are attended to. So, tonight I'm starting a series of the top 5 barriers to career change, right? And I'm a career transition coach, and that's what I help women do. But there are some barriers that women will run into that will kind of keep you feeling stuck where you are. And so tonight we're going to be talking about the fear of feeling alone in your new career path. That often happens. And I'm trying to be sure I get all my cameras here. So I think I'll just switch between the two. But yes, the fear of just being alone in that new career path and just feeling like you've lost your identity. It can happen when you're changing to, doing a 180-degree career change to something else. Now, don't get me wrong. If you do change, let's say, from being an employee to being a manager, that could feel as well. There's still that fear, but you have that commonality that you're in the same career field. But feeling like you've lost your career identity can really be challenging when you're looking forward to making, that career change. And it's career change is like it's exhilarating, it's exciting, and it can scare the crap out of you all wrapped up into one package because it can be emotional. Oftentimes, those of us in the United States, and I'm coming to you from the United States near Washington, D.C., we often link our identity to our career. Now, I know that in some countries they do that as well, maybe not quite as much as we do here in the United States. So let's say that you've been an engineer for 5, 10, 15, or 20 years. Just the thought of changing to something else can really feel scary because you've built your career identity around being an engineer. It may be that most of your friends, certainly your coworkers, are related to engineering or they're engineers. It could be your significant other, maybe your wife, maybe even your friends outside of the job. Everything or most of that is engineering related. And so when you're talking about wanting to change to a new career path, it can feel like you're abandoning, number one, your coworkers. Like, I've been here this long. Am I abandoning my friends? Some people feel like I'm abandoning the job. I'm abandoning my direct reports. I'm abandoning my supervisor, my chain of command, maybe my director. It's very emotional and it can feel that way. That's why we're talking about barriers to career change because it's emotional, right? It feels a little bit like losing your identity. It feels like, remember that time when, for those of you that had middle school at one time, at least when I came along, it was junior high school, when you shifted from middle or junior high school to, remember what it felt like to switch to high school? The same worries, like, am I going to fit in? Am I going to find a new crowd? What are people going to think about me? Am I going to look stupid? Am I going to fail? Career change can actually cause some of those similar emotions that we're concerned. What if this goes wrong? What if it was a wrong choice? What if I don't do well? What if this isn't the fit for me? What if I take too long to learn what I have to know? And that fear gets even higher, like it gets increased when you've been at your current job 10 or 15 years. I have clients who have been in a job sitting for 10 years and have wanted to change for the last 5. But these are the kind of fears, the barriers that can hold them back from doing a career transition, right? And so sometimes it can also feel for some people like, you're some of us had parents that said you will be an engineer or an attorney or a doctor or a teacher or a nurse. And when you want to do a career change, it feels like you're abandoning what your parents or what your family actually had set up for you. And so, again, very emotional time. And those emotions can cause barriers as to why we find it difficult to change, or why some people will kind of sit and just stay in a career and be stuck and be kind of miserable because, I don't want to abandon people. I don't want to feel like I'm abandoning my friends or my family. And also, it can just feel like you're turning your back on everything you learn. It's like, but this is my degree and I have a bachelor's degree, or I have an associate's degree, or I have like a master's or a PhD. And now I'm just going to turn away and leave all that education behind to do something new. Or it could even feel like you're abandoning your accomplishments because you're well established. You're extremely successful in what you're doing. It's just that that career doesn't quite align anymore to what's going to make you happy. And again, we're talking about those barriers. And it just makes you feel like the fear of being alone. What if I do transition to this career and I don't know anybody there? What if this is so new to me? I don't get what I need to get. And those are all fears. I felt them many times. At this point, I've done 11 career transitions. And so that's career transitions, not jobs. I've held over 41 jobs in my lifetime and in my working lifetime, but I've made 11 different career transitions. And these are feelings that are very much common. They are very much common. You think about walking, you get this new job, you're walking through the door and you don't know the people, you've never done this job before. It can be a little bit intimidating, right? It could be the barrier that holds you back from doing something that really would light your fire and really just match with your passions and line with what you really want to do. So one of the most important things that you can do if this is the way you're feeling is really stay connected to your network and your family and your friends, right? That's common. Whether you go from this job to that job, do a 180 career change, pretty much your network, the people that you network with, they're pretty much going to stay the same. And there's what's comfortable for you, right? But you will also, we'll talk about this in another video, is how do you expand that network to fit where you're going? But of course, when you're trusting in your network, because this has happened to me, you want to be sure that you trust the people that you're sharing with. I've been in the job where as soon as, boss, supervisor, coworker got wind of you trying to change the job, they just cut you off. They stop speaking to you, they isolate you. And sometimes that is why a lot of women will just stay put in a job they've lost their passion for. Is because, it's like the work environment, they go crazy and they just cut you off like snip, 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 don't talk to you. I've been places where I didn't get it going away because my boss was angry and everybody else was like, oh my God, have a good time. Glad you were here. But they're like, we don't want him to know we were supporting you. That's very, very stressful. And again, some of the barriers that keep people stuck. So, hi. And I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I know it looks like Mama Skolkadelight. I'm messing that one up, I know for sure, but thanks for joining. But what about you? What are some of the barriers that you have run into in switching that job? I've told you about, the feeling like you're going to lose your identity and feeling the fear of being alone in that new career, but also that fear of everybody cutting you off. When it's like, hey, I'm looking for a new job. And then the job gets a whiff of it and people just start cutting you off and treating you like maybe a leper, like they said, the little redheaded stepchild. And it's it can be devastating if you don't have the support. So of course, when you're looking for that new job, she said it's digital. Okay, because I totally messed that up. But definitely when you share with that network, be sure it's people you can trust. And if you have the type of job environment where they cut you off when you're looking, then by all means, you don't need to share with anybody in that network. You got to be selective in who you share with, right? But those are some of the things, really is honing into your network, those you can trust, because that doesn't just go away. While you're navigating those feelings of, the fear of losing your identity or just being alone in this new career. So if you'd like additional tips for making a career change, I wrote an article how I left my six-figure job during a job pandemic, during a pandemic. So I'm going to post that here, and I'll post it in a couple of other different places because I know for sure those of you on YouTube, I can't post anything there until afterwards. But I'll put the link to that article because I go into 6 additional, pointers for you to read and to how I actually left a full-time job to run both my businesses. I am a career transition coach in addition to being a licensed therapist. And it can be done, right? And I give you some pointers of just some more tips to read because it's a little scary. And by all means, I'm a career transition coach, and I hired 2 coaches when I was making this decision, not just 1 coach, but 2 coach, right? And I have 2 businesses, so that would make sense. But definitely don't be afraid to reach out and get the help because you don't have to be alone, right? You don't have to go through this alone. And that's the biggest piece of understanding is of all of the barriers, that you may face in doing a career transition. Don't feel like you got to do it alone. I didn't. I depended on my network and my coaches as well. Okay. So again, I've dropped that link out there for those of you on YouTube and as well for those of you on Instagram. I'll come back and pop the link to the article. It's a really good read. And be sure to come back next week when I'll have the next video in this series. These are the top common barriers, the top 5 barriers to career transition. And we're going to be talking about the next barrier, translating your skills into a new career. That one leaves people stuck. I know I want to do something else, but how do my skills transfer? Right? So thank you for joining, and I do appreciate it. And I will see you back next week. Take care.